I was livid. And he was right, of course. What are your thoughts on Netflix cancelling everything awesome they make? No, I don't think so. I don't know. Who says that after Halloween we should no longer watch paranormal, supernatural, scary, fantasy and sci-fi TV shows? Here are 10 supernatural TV shows I recommend you watch this autumn. Number 1, The Sandman. The first season was released in 2022 and it's based on the comic book written by Neil Gaiman and published by DC Comics. After escaping a century-long captivity by a mortal wizard, Dream, the cosmic ruler of the dream realm, embarks on a journey across worlds and timelines to reclaim his lost artifact and restore order to the chaos unleashed in his absence. I was so surprised by this TV show. This is unexpected, different, gory at times, deep and scary, so much that there is one episode I couldn't bear to watch, so I had to skip it. And then I found out that a lot of people enjoyed that episode more than anything else in the show. It's the one in the diner, if you watched it. And recently came out Chaos on Netflix, a brilliant TV show, one season only and cancelled afterwards, so maybe you heard of this on the news or on social media, because a lot of people decided to speak up and say, listen Netflix, you really messed up this time, and I totally agree with them. But Chaos vaguely reminded me of The Sandman, precisely because of this surprising and unexpected feel to it, as if both TV shows belong to a completely different category and nothing matches their vibes. And I would say Chaos is the more colorful version of The Sandman, if it makes sense. Number 2, Supernatural. These are 15 seasons of fantasy, supernatural drama horror. Sam and Dean Winchester, two brothers trained by their father to hunt supernatural beings, face a dark world filled with monsters, demons, and vengeful gods. Haunted by family tragedy and secrets, they rely on each other to confront escalating dangers and betrayal as they fight the forces that lurk in the shadows. We need more series of 20 episodes per season. And also we need more episodic TV shows. Because here you have a main storyline, yes, but each episode is also a standalone. And that is probably what we miss in most TV shows nowadays. It's one of the greatest features, for instance, in Star Trek, so much so that they recently made Strange New Worlds based on the same format they used to adopt for the very first series of Star Trek, which are probably the best also. Do you feel like we need more 20-something episodes per season and episodic TV shows? Let me know in the comments down below. This is the longest TV show I binge watched. I think it took me a month or so. And I repeat, 15 seasons, each season 22 episodes or something. I mean, in this series you have ghosts, vampires, demons, monsters and their hunters. You really have it all. And I have to admit, it took me a few episodes to get used to the degree of violence or gruesome scenes, but the incredible chemistry between the characters and the actors themselves truly made this TV show one of a kind, unforgettable. It worked, and it worked so well that it kept going for 15 years. The first few seasons are definitely from 2005 or so, which may be nostalgic for some of us, or cringy for others, but this show is amazing no matter what. And when I finished watching it last year, because I had no clue what Supernatural was when it was on, but last year I needed to talk about it with someone. I needed to relive some moments of the show with someone else and discuss them. And that's when I first thought I should really make a YouTube channel for this. And perhaps I will make an episode after rewatching Supernatural this autumn, because it really deserves all the praise. Number 3, The Devil's Hour. This is a British mystery thriller supernatural, and they just released the 2nd season. Lucy wakes every night at exactly 3:33 a.m., the ominous Devil's Hour, and is haunted by unanswered questions and eerie visions. As she follows a trail linked to brutal murders, she uncovers dark secrets that blur the line between reality and the supernatural. As I said, I just watched the 2nd season that was released on Prime Video, and I even thought about placing this TV show in different videos I made, but I would say if you only watch the 1st season, you might still be satisfied by the ending, in a way. Actually, I didn't know, or I wasn't expecting a 2nd season at all, and I don't want to talk about it here now, just in case you haven't watched the 1st season, but I have a lot of thoughts, and maybe I will make a separate video about that, so a specific TV show review. But let me tell you, when I watched the 1st one, I thought, yes, the series takes its time, you really get to know the characters, you are just as confused as the characters are, but it's a gripping story as well. You need to know what's going on, you need to keep watching until the end. And excellent acting. I would really recommend you watch The Devil's Hour and then come back to my channel because I will probably release a 2nd video about this. Number 4, Locke Key. These are 3 seasons of fantasy, supernatural drama with horror elements. And it's based on the comic book series of the same name by Joe Hill and Gabriele Rodriguez. Following their father's mysterious murder, the 3 Locke siblings and their mother move into their ancestral home, Key House, where they discover magical keys with unique powers. As they explore the keys' abilities, they realize these secrets may be tied to their father's death. I wish there were more shows about keys and clocks, but that's unrelated, that have special powers. I love this show so much that I watched it twice in a couple of years maybe, and I keep thinking about it. Yeah, maybe the only downside is that perhaps I'm not the target audience, since the protagonists are teenagers, and maybe I don't get their humor, or I'm annoyed by certain decisions they make, which are due to the fact that they are young. But other than that, I love the concept. I wish we had had more seasons, even though the 3rd one gives a perfect closure to the story, so you're not left without any explanation or what. And actually the last season is my least favorite, but I definitely recommend you watch Locke Key. In the next couple of recommendations, you will hear about quite similar TV series. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like they are connected in some way. You tell me. Number 5, Dead Boy Detectives. This was released this year and it has already been cancelled, so beware of that if you decide to watch it. It's a supernatural horror detective comedy drama based on the DC Comics characters of the same name. Teenage ghosts Charles Rowland and Edwin Payne choose to remain on Earth, teaming up with a clairvoyant friend to investigate supernatural crimes. Together, they serve their ghostly patrons until a powerful witch disrupts their mission. This one is quite similar to Lockwood & Co., which was also cancelled after 1 season only, despite how much the audience appreciated it, because they are both fresh, quirky, definitely more modern than other TV shows I normally watch, because they are definitely young, the protagonists are young, but this means also that they are quite different from what you're used to when it comes to supernatural and detective dramas. I thought it was really going somewhere with this premise, and there was room for many seasons actually, because once you have a couple of ghost detectives, you can basically play around with all supernatural elements possible. You can make it episodic, as I said, and you can just keep going. And it's such a pity that Netflix cancelled it, just as they did with Lockwood & Co., which again is quite similar. I didn't love it as much, Not sure why, but the very first episodes didn't have the right pace for me or something. I don't know if there was something that didn't resonate with me, whereas with Dead Boy Detectives it worked. But I would say these two shows are quite similar, and so if you liked one, you will like the other and vice versa. Just beware that Netflix cancelled both. Number 6, Half Bad, The Bastard Son and the Devil Himself. This is yet again another victim of Netflix, because they cancelled it after the first season. But this fantasy drama is based on the Half Bad trilogy by Sally Green, so at least you can read the books. Amidst two warring clans, the son of a notorious witch responsible for a brutal massacre struggles to find his place and harness his powers. This young adult fantasy drama weaves intense conflicts with stunning, heartful special effects. I have not read the books, but I heard that they made several changes in the TV show. Have you read the trilogy? Do you know if it's true, or are you satisfied with how they portrayed the same story, at least in this first season? And is it worth reading this book series? Because I really liked the magic and quirks, and again, I would say this is aligned with Lockwood & Co., Dead Boy Detectives, and Locke Key. I would say they are all quite young and fresh, and there are several unexpected elements and ways of tackling the story that made it really interesting, to me at least. And even though, again, it's not exactly my cup of tea, I still enjoyed it. Perhaps because I'm craving more magic and witches and supernatural stories in general. But yeah, at least you can read the books if you're into this. Number 7, Wednesday. This is a coming-of-age supernatural mystery based on the character Wednesday Addams from the Addams Family multimedia franchise created by American cartoonist Charles Addams. At Nevermore Academy, Wednesday Addams works to control her emerging psychic powers, stop a deadly killing spree, and decipher a mystery that entangled her parents decades earlier. This is what I don't get. Why was this so successful when the themes and the humor are so similar to Lockwood & Co., Half Bad, and all the others that I just mentioned? Is that simply because of the character Wednesday? Probably. And that's a pity, because they saved this show and they cancelled the others. Either way, we are still waiting for season 2. At this point, I was hoping we would get it by this autumn. Who knows when this will come, but I enjoyed the mystery. There are a couple of scenes, like close-ups of certain faces, that still haunt me in my nightmares. I wish I could erase those images from my mind, but other than that, it's not a full-on horror, and I definitely enjoyed it. Number 8, His Dark Materials. This is a fantasy mystery drama with some sci-fi elements I have talked about before, and it's based on the trilogy of novels by Philip Pullman. A brave young girl sets out to rescue her kidnapped friend and uncovers a dark plot involving stolen children, a powerful substance called dust, and the oppressive magisterium, which seeks to sever people from their magical animal spirits or demons. I talked about it in my underrated TV shows video, but I bet you didn't watch it. And this show is the reason why my channel is called The Stories Eater. But I cannot tell you why, because it would be a spoiler. I never read the books, so I cannot tell whether this does justice to the source material, but I love the stories and the characters and all the supernatural elements in this story. And for some reason, if you missed this one, you definitely need to add it to your watch list. Number 9, Shadow and Bone. This is a fantasy drama based on the works by Leigh Bardugo, and yes, it was cancelled. When orphan map maker Alina Starkov discovers an extraordinary power that could unite her war-torn world, dark forces conspire against her. As she navigates this dangerous landscape, she must confront the sinister plots threatening her and those she loves. This is set in the Grishaverse, so if you read any of the books by Leigh Bardugo, you might be familiar with it. But if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just know that this has an intriguing magic system, well crafted and well developed, and not even 5 minutes into the first episode of the first season, I thought, finally, a new world and a new fantasy series to get lost in. And I was so intrigued by it that after finishing the first season, I listened to the audiobooks of the rest of their trilogy, so the second and third one, because I couldn't wait for season 2, which they made, but it didn't really match neither the story nor what I was expecting from the TV show, because they ended up merging the duology starting with Six of Crows with this trilogy, which started with Shadow and Bone, and they probably messed up a little bit, because in the first season you get the characters from Six of Crows, but they don't really use all the material in the book, whereas in the second season they messed this up a little. I mean, it wasn't bad, it just didn't follow the story, and I don't get it. Since you have a great source material and you have the author working with you, why do you need to change it so much? I really don't understand. And maybe that's one of the reasons why they cancelled it, I don't know, because it was a successful TV show. But the disappointment for this cancellation was enormous. At least for me, despite not really loving the second season. And I signed petitions and I was loud on social media, but nothing. We didn't get our show back. But I still would recommend you watch at least the first season. Number 10, The Witcher. This is an action fantasy drama with horror elements based on the book series by the Polish author Andrzej Sapkowski. Geralt of Rivia, a mutated monster hunter, grapples with his identity in a harsh world where humans often display greater wickedness than the creatures he hunts. As he navigates treacherous encounters, he seeks to find his purpose amidst the chaos and moral ambiguity of humanity. If I was disappointed by Netflix cancelling the other shows I talked about on this list, I was livid when they began messing with the story and, above all, mistreating Henry Cavill, or simply not listening to what he had to say about the fact that they were deviating so much from the source material and that it would be a mistake. And he was right, of course. While watching the first season, I couldn't help but thinking that Henry Cavill was born to play Geralt of Rivia. I mean, I've never seen such a perfect match before. And bear in mind, I had no clue what The Witcher was. I had no idea about the books or the video game, so I wasn't attached to the character in any way. But truly, Henry Cavill's performance got me. He is perfect. Absolutely perfect. And I would say he's such an underrated actor as well, because he is often given these ridiculous roles. I don't get it. Why? Or, you know, he has to play these characters in which he needs to be shirtless or something. But no, he is made for deeper characters. I would say, watch the first 2 seasons. The third one, he hated it, I hated it. So don't get too involved in the plot or the characters, because you will feel betrayed. And again, it's not the fault of the cast at all. It was a series of bad decisions made by the production. And beware that the song in the first season, toss a coin to your witcher, O Valley of Plenty, will stay with you for months and will haunt you until the end of time. Will I watch the next season coming without Henry Cavill? No, I don't think so. I don't know. I couldn't stand most of the episodes in the third season, and Henry Cavill was in them. So, I mean, truly, they really messed up with this TV show and I hate it deeply. I wish we could start over with the second season with an entirely different production team, but what can we do? And here is a bonus recommendation, because it's a movie and not a TV show that I want you to watch this November. And it's Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. This is a fantasy from 2016 based on the 2011 novel of the same name by Ransom Riggs. After following clues left by his grandfather, Jacob discovers Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, a magical place filled with residents who possess unique powers. As he learns more about their abilities and the terrifying enemies they face, Jacob realizes that only his own peculiar talent can save his new friends from impending danger. This is creepy, but also funny at times, curious and quirky. And this movie is the reason why I cannot eat or even look at okra, the veggie. And if you want to know exactly why, I will tell you in the comments, but I feel like it's a spoiler, so maybe it could have been a TV show so that we would have the time to meet each character and learn more about them individually, but also because the source material grew and there are sequels now, so there would be room for more in this story, but the movie gave it a closure, so there was no room for a sequel in that sense. But again, I think that having so many peculiarities and so many different characters, you could really develop each one of them or have multiple storylines. So in a way, I wish someone would pick up the sequels and make a TV show out of them. I don't know, but I would recommend you watch this movie, which probably was perfect for Halloween, but it's quite different from the other recommendations I gave you, so I didn't know where to place it. But since Netflix just made it available, at least here in Finland, I feel like you should watch it this autumn. And there you have my 10 supernatural TV show recommendations for autumn 2024, plus a bonus recommendation. Did you know any of these? What are your thoughts on Netflix cancelling everything awesome they make? Will you watch the upcoming season of The Witcher? Let your own supernatural recommendations in the comments. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on the upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.